up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yala, your thrice weekly podcast where we talk about the hottest news and a touch of what, Terrence?
Good old lovey-dovey humor, man.
Lovey-dovey humor, man.
Yeah.
How was your Valentine's Day, bro?
Yeah, mostly spent with you, I think. For the most of the day,
That's
I spent
true.
it with you. It's true, right? Yeah.
That is true.
The unfortunate
That is
reality.
fucking true.
Yeah. I mean, you really do end up seeing your workmates and all that for a higher percentage of your life than you do your family or kids and all that. That's true.
Yeah, man. Yeah, yesterday I came back and my wife was like, "Oh, it's Valentine's Day." I was like, "Oh shit, yeah, happy Valentine's."
I will just go out. I think I'm a bit more experienced than you. So actually, after work yesterday, I did the right thing and went out and got flowers and everything as well. Yeah.
Because you've been conditioned by society, lah, bro. Get flowers or no, I did get flowers for my wife previously, but she said no, lah, flowers not her thing. Flowers not her
like
thing.
5 years ago, or something like that.
4 years ago.
You make it sound like, I did it last week. No, we talk about 4 years ago.
4 years. I mean, she say, then I'm like, okay, lor. I'm not going to force it. And I don't think it's one of those, like, I say no, but I really want. I hope that's not the case. I hope that's not the case.
Very selective. You have very selective judgment about it. This is not one of those situations, right? But every other situation is one of those.
And she's like, shit, this guy is not getting it. This guy is not getting it.
No, I mean, I think from, flowers, okay lah. In general, over the years, I've come to like, okay, flowers, is, especially when you're living in your own place, which you are now, right? You get flowers, everybody sort of enjoys how it looks. It brightens up the place a bit. But, like really expensive dinners on Valentine's Day, those Valentine's Day packages. That one I'm starting to like, is it really? I mean, it's an experience, but it's also so crowded and everyone's rushing to book and so stressful, It's like trying to get a car yesterday and all that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. You just go like a few days later, a few days before. So all good, man. All good. But I did meet a friend of a friend who is having her first date on Valentine's Day with someone she just met. Then I was thinking, as a guy, asking someone out for the first proper date on Valentine's is damn precious, yeah?
Yeah. Right. I wouldn't do that. That one is like, you could potentially ruin someone's like Valentine's Day for a few years.
Yeah, that's right. For a few
years,
if it goes badly,
and everything. Yeah.
I mean, hopefully it went well. But Valentine's Day also was significant for another reason, which is going to form the context of today. But before that, what are we plugging, man? What are we plugging?
I think, as always, you can listen to this podcast on all your favorite podcast channels, but also do follow us on our social media, like whether it's our Instagram or TikTok. We post up clips of our podcast as well, where you get to see our faces and our expressions as we talk through all these issues. And I think, a lot of times I'm quite surprised by the responses we get on those channels, because the comments and everything are quite different from the comments that we get on Reddit and other places too, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's just a nice thing. And I do that for other podcasts as well that I listen to. So hopefully you do that for ours.
Yeah, that's right. But
cool, man. Cool.
Shall we jump right into Lawrence Wong's love letter to Singaporeans?
Yeah, and that is the Budget 2023 from the new Sugar Daddy Wong. I mean, that doesn't sound the same. No, Sugar Daddy will always be for Sugar Daddy Heng. We need to think of something else for Lawrence Wong. But yesterday, the Budget 2023 was announced. And
yes,
as always, there is so much to unpack. We're just going to focus on one element today because we are... I know like people were asking us to do a deep dive similar to how we did last year. We are working on it. Hopefully, there will be an episode where we sit down with a good financial friend of ours to really dissect the budget in the coming days.
But also to let it sit for a little bit, right? Because I think a lot of announcements were made yesterday that will affect whether it's property prices or resale prices or parents planning to start young families and all. So it's a good practice to, even after news is announced, rather than be like the mainstream media and just like, oh, just parrot out everything they say. We kind of want to like sit a little bit, read comments online, talk to people, get a sense of what people are feeling about it. Then we come to and bring our yellow butts to the table.
Yellow
And
butts.
debate it.
Yeah.
Yellow butts, not literally our butts, but as in our yellow butt perspective to the table. Yeah.
Yellow butts.
Not encouraging anyone to put their butts on the table.
I mean,
in case that's what you're thinking.
if it's your table, just do what you want. Like, if it's your table, your butt in your house, do whatever you want, man.
Yes.
Do whatever you want.
But yeah.
I mean, so yeah,
that's right.
Overall, like this budget touched a lot of different areas. There will be the assurance package, which will be kind of, I mean, a lot of new terms being thrown out also, like the cost of living special payment between 200 and 400 for each eligible adult Singaporean. So this is just cash payouts to deal with the rising cost of living. The housing measures, I mean, we have spoken about HDB, we have spoken about the resale prices, and there's a bunch of things that are happening, like increased grants for first-time buyers of resale, which, that one also, there's really a lot of chatter about how that could have knock-on effects on everything in the resale market. Then there was a higher tax for high-value property, luxury cars, and tobacco. So, I mean, tobacco, that's good. Everything across all tobacco products, the excise duty, which I don't even know what the hell is, but I'm guessing that's the duty for bringing tobacco into Singapore, will increase by 15%. There's additional stamp duty for properties in excess of 1.5 million. People who own fancy cars, they'll need to pay more tax. Then there's also the CPF monthly salary ceiling to rise, which is going to go from 6K to 8K in 2026 onwards. There's more support for workers, for employees. There's the part-time re-employment grant. There's tax deductions for donations, and a baby bonus, a boost to the baby bonus.
Yeah, enhanced baby bonus.
Enhanced baby bonus, which is the one aspect that we will be talking about for today. I don't know, man. Why do you want to talk about this? Why this in particular?
I think because, obviously being a dad, I'm probably a bit more familiar with a lot of these things, like these terms and these grants and all. But at the same time, I'm not a direct. I will not be a direct recipient of a lot of these new grants that are being announced. So I'm able to let's look at it objectively. Like how will it affect one of the huge problems that we have in Singapore today, which is the declining birth rate, right? Will giving more money, $3,000 more as a enhanced baby bonus, would that necessarily encourage people to rush to have babies in the next few months and years, right? So I think that's just a bigger question that we're trying to ask here, with all the inflation and rising costs of child rearing and all. Does this do anything to really move the needle that much? Yeah. And then I think maybe for you, I don't know, it's you just got married, there's these I think these measures are aimed quite squarely at your demographic, to be honest.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah. Do you celebrate woo when you go home yesterday and then yes, finally we can do this?
I was like, baby, this is my Valentine's Day gift to you, man. We're gonna get rich.
Maybe that's what Lawrence Wong meant, right? It's like he's catalyzing stuff in the bedroom for young couples. Yeah. That's his Valentine's gift to all young couples across Singapore, right?
Yeah, like in our room now, there's you can imagine couples with pictures of their family, his family, her family, and then now Lawrence Wong as well in the bedroom. Lawrence Wong in the bedroom. Before you make a baby, you think about Mr. Wong,
and say thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you for the additional grant. Yeah.
But before jumping to baby bonus, maybe just for yourself, what stood out to you the most when you were looking through all these announcements?
You mean for specific to baby bonus, is it?
No. Everything about the budget. For you as a person, jumped out to you the most?
I think it'll be the resale grants lah. Because I mean, I just got my place like 2 years ago, and the grants and all were a big part of the process lah. And then we have spoken a lot about the rising prices. I got a resale, and since then the prices have just continued to increase. Which for me, I'm glad I got in that time, but I was also thinking, wow, shit, like I can't imagine being in that position now. So when these new grants come out, I'm like, oh, that's cool. But then it feels like it's just going to push everything further. Like my simple mind is like, you give more grants, then it makes it easier to charge higher. Because let's say if I wanted to sell mine, feels like it will be more reachable to more people if the price is a bit higher. Like. Then I was thinking, oh shit, is that a good solution? Is that a good long-term solution? I don't know. I don't know. So, but that stood out to me lah.
Yeah, I see. That's what a lot of the chatter that I'm seeing that it's just going to push up the prices, and isn't it a very obvious thing that this isn't? It doesn't solve the problem lah, right? That we have of not enough supply and all that, right?
Yeah.
Because that's ultimately the bigger issue, right? That there's not enough BTOs for everyone, and just making resale flats more accessible via more grants doesn't solve the issue lah. It's just, I don't know. Maybe I don't even know if it fixes the symptoms lah, right?
Yeah, I mean, and you see that a lot, right? Like even the rising cost of living now. There's a what's that package called?
Assurance, is it?
Called the assurance package. Yeah. So it will cost 9.6 billion up from 6.6 billion. But I think the assurance package is already an existing package. Seems like it, because there was a previous budget of 6.6 billion.
I see.
So it's just, I think, to deal with rising cost of living, there's all these handouts being given, like, which, I mean, is good in the short term, but then it just makes me feel like, oh shit, then is the prices just going to keep going up and up and up and up?
So, yeah, I mean, actually, what you are saying exactly encapsulates a lot of the thought about the baby bonus as well.
Yeah.
A lot of these grants that are being given are one-off, some very upfront sums and all. But if you really look on the ground, the situation with like the cost of, say for the cost of playgroup and preschool for kids, it's getting insanely high. Like we're talking about like hundreds of dollars increase year on year, per month. Yeah. So what is, an additional $3,000 is good, but what about all the other costs that are rising, like medical costs and childcare costs and all that? So that's a very big worry that I think parents have.
So maybe to a non-parent, can you give like an intro to baby grants that I only know very little about?
So I think right now your first child, when you're a new parents, the first child you get $8,000 of a cash disbursement baby grant. Now it's going to be increased to 11,000 for babies that are, I think, born from. Actually, I'm not sure, but it's going to be increased to 11,000 for babies, I think, born from 14th, from yesterday
14th February.
Yeah, from
14th
yesterday.
February.
Yeah, correct. And I think also they're extending this to October or something because to be fair, there were some grants that were given during COVID as well to babies, additional $3,000 top ups. So they're just trying to cover everyone, to make sure everyone who has given birth in the past since 1st October 2020 till now are also covered, at least with some additional top ups. So that's the big, when people say, oh, this enhanced baby bonus, that's the main thing, extra $3,000 per baby. And then there's other things where there's a child development account that they also put money in, but this child development account can only be used for your child's education or medical bills. So they are increasing the amount by $2,000 for every child. So just for the first child, I think it used to be $3,000. Now they give you $5,000 into that child development account.
This is the first step grant.
Yeah, the first step grant. And they also increase, I think it's a co-matching account where whatever, I think for the first $3,000 you put in, they also match dollar for dollar and put in $3,000. But now it's increased to $4,000. So you put in $4,000, they will match it for another $4,000 with you. So that was the baby bonus and the child development account, the amounts that were increased. I think other things are like they're trying to, in my estimation, give more tax relief to lower income mothers, working mums as well. So I think I can't remember what the exact term was. It's the Working Mothers Child Relief, which aims to encourage women to stay in the workforce after having children. What it used to be was a percentage of the mother's earned income. But now it will be changed to a fixed dollar amount. That means it will be changed to, I think they mentioned $8,000.
8,000, 8,000.
A cap of 8,000. Not a cap. It will be a fixed amount, $8,000. Whereas last time it used to be a percentage of income. So there's a bit of chatter online that this change in policy benefits the lower to middle income, lower to median per capita incomes. But everyone else above, actually, it's kind of, there's a cap basically on how much you can claim from this.
Because previously, the 15%, I mean, there was no cap, is it? So if you earn $1 million a year as a CEO, you get 150,000?
Tax relief,
Tax relief, tax relief, yeah. 150,000 tax relief.
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. So, it's that's why it's quite interesting, some of these measures and all. And I think the important part that goes along with this is that they have doubled paternity leave. So I think it's always been 2 weeks compulsory for dads and 2 weeks voluntary depending on the company. But now they're going to make it mandatory 4 weeks paternity leave to be covered. Yeah.
So I thought it is still 2 weeks on a voluntary basis. But they are moving towards making it
plus 2 weeks plus 2 weeks voluntary basis.
2
weeks compulsory, 2 weeks voluntary.
Previously?
Now the idea is to make it 4 weeks compulsory. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think he said it outright himself in the budget speech that they try to encourage dads who want to be more hands-on to really have the time to do it. And I mean, there's a whole slew of these measures that have been announced to help parents and young new families basically with a lot more financial support. So how does that make you feel? Because I said this is really speaking to your demographic. Like for me, I already had 2 kids and all that already, and sort of whatever grants there were back then, I already enjoyed them already. But now it's a very different time. Now there's inflation, the cost of living is much higher and everything. How do you feel about hearing all this? Does this encourage you to let's make babies?
I think, Terrence, later our meeting, I'll just cancel it. I'm just going to go make a baby. Make a baby. No, okay, so I mean, as you were talking, I did have certain questions. Like, when they say first child, if you have twins, then how?
Then, that's a good question. I don't know. I think it's counted as first and second. Yeah. Depending on, I mean, the twins don't come out at the same time, usually. There's always a first and a second.
You think there's never been twins that have been born at the same time, like hugging? Just hugging and
pull them out together. It's like the 100-meter dash kind of race.
Oh, so if you have triplets, you get 11K, 13K, and then boom.
Yeah. Essentially, everything
makes sense. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. All the grants given for the third child are higher. Because, I mean, it's not as a reward. It's because you genuinely, you will need more support.
Yeah, correct. And then, I mean, a lot of these grants are dispersed over a period of time. Previously was over 18 months, and then now it is over 6.5 years.
18 months and then $400 every 6 years or something like that. That means, let's say your baby bonus is 11, has gone from 8,000 to 11,000, right?
Yeah.
So how it used to be done was like the $8,000 would be dispersed over the first 18 months. Now what they're going to do is to disperse up to $9,000 over the first 18 months, and then subsequently $400 every 6 months until the child is
6.5.
Yeah, 6.5 years old. Yeah. So spreading out the payments a bit, So, I guess in a way it's helping you manage, just so that you don't end up just spending all the money at once as well, right?
Okay. Then the second question: these grants, does it only apply to births that happen in hospital, or if you go to a park or a forest or something, then you have a natural birth, then can get grant or not?
Can, but wherever you give birth, eventually you need to register a birth certificate for your child, right?
Yes,
and
correct.
The birth certificate is what triggers everything for you, It's all automated. Now there's no paper birth certificate already, FYI. It's
Oh, it's
all
all
like
SingPass, is it?
SingPass, your app and everything. Yeah.
So SingPass. So the baby will have a SingPass account.
No, you will need to use your SingPass to apply for the birth certificate for your child.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see. So there's no paper birth certificate.
No more, no more. Those are relics, man. Those are relics. Yeah.
So that means you still need to have a proof that this baby is yours, lah.
You have to register. I mean, on the spot and everything, lah. Yeah.
But if you
have to go
give
on the app
birth
and do
in
it.
like your bathtub or something, then how do you verify it's your child?
Usually I think there'll be a doctor, a medical professional present who has to. They
Also,
also
there
have
has to be
sign off.
that
Has to be. Yeah, yeah.
you can't just give birth like on your own, lah.
Yeah, strongly advised against that. I mean, even if you wanted, let's say you want to do your whole meditation thing and do natural birth in your bathtub at home and all that, usually you still need to get a professional to be there to help you in case of anything also lah.
Probably all the women listening now who have actually given birth to a child, they're like, look at this fucking idiot. You think what giving birth is like doing Look,
I thought you were going to say idiots. I'm going to say there's only one idiot.
Yeah, there's only one idiot.
Yeah.
Because I've had a few friends.
Giving birth so easy.
I've had a few friends who have become fathers who told me that the first thing that they wanted to do after that was to go thank their own mother for having to go through what they now see their own wives go through when they were born.
Yeah.
So I mean, okay. So going back to your question, I mean, I think, I don't know, does it fundamentally change anything? Like, this wouldn't be something that makes me go, okay, you know what? Now I want to have a baby. I already know.
Why not? More money, right?
Yeah, more money, but it's not saying I was on the fence. Like, I want to build a family with my wife and have kids, which is something that a few years ago I never thought I would say. I never thought I wanted kids. But now I'm like, yeah, okay. But then it's not say I'm like, do I want? Do I not want? Whoa, Lawrence Wong. Thanks, man. Okay, now I'm gonna have a kid. So I think it does help a little bit in terms of, okay, at least there's a bit more support. But is it, maybe it might be just a background thing, like, okay, more support, so, but it's not like a big like push factor.
Yeah, this always reminds me. It always reminds me of a story that one of my friends who's running his own I think retail business was telling me some time back, like he every year at his company D&D and everything, they make a very big deal of those long service awards that they give out to the employees. Employees who've been there 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and they always make it a point to create this very unique watch, right? That has the company logo and everything on the back and all. So, and I mean, at the end of the day, is the watch a Rolex or what? No, it's not. It's not that expensive. It's relatively cheap. It's like, rather than giving people a cash bonus, they much rather give this watch as a recognition of their long-term service. So, I was telling him, like, why go through all this trouble to do this? Like, why don't you just like give people more money to congratulate them or thank them for their long service? And then he just told me, like, dude, you're talking exactly like how a person trained in finance thinks. You think that just giving money like incentivizes people straight away to want to work harder to do better for you. But no, man, like that fucking watch is like they work so many years for it, and to them it's a kind of currency that you can never buy, like, what it means to them, what it means to their stature in the company and all that. So they much 10 times over much rather get that I don't know, $200 watch compared to getting like a $1,000 cash bonus or what, because of the supposed status it confers to them, right? So it's all these intangible things that admittedly back then, being trained in finance, that's how I would think, like, people just respond better when you give them money. That's how they're incentivized to do things. Give them more money. And it's such a, it's quite a naive way of thinking about things, right? People aren't incentivized necessarily just by a dollar value given to them, because to them there's other things that signify their meaning and their worth to the world as a person. So all that said, just going back to this, I realized is money really going to move the needle in terms of getting people to want to have kids? No, and I realized, like what we were saying earlier, I think a lot of the real problems about thinking of starting a family, we have not found solutions to them, which are things like getting a house, getting your own space to start a family, getting your BTO, in a timely fashion, not waiting like 5 years for it, and also the amount of time that you have lah, whether it's paternity leave or even for mothers, even like childcare leave and things like that lah. I think those things are what really make people a bit hesitant to have children, so if those things aren't solved, like just throwing more money at it won't necessarily solve it. So throwing money is the easiest solution, because it's like you can calculate it with a calculator, right? But all those other things like convincing employers about the importance of supporting your workers who are parents also, and also thinking about the BTO issue, those are hard problems to solve, right?
But then, so I mean, before I address that, I just wanted to say that I don't think it's a being trained in finance that made you think that way. Because I was just thinking, if at my wedding you give me a watch with our faces on it, telling me how long we've been friends, I would have asked you to fuck off, lah, dude.
It's the meaning, man. It's the meaning.
No. If you give that to me, I'll just look at it and say, okay, you're not having dinner at this restaurant. You just fuck off. Your wife can stay, but you just fuck off. So I don't think it's being trained in finance, lah. I think maybe the situation, lah. But I will also say that I think what you said is true. Like if you ask me what I feel like when I think of having kids, I'm like, holy shit. And I'm guessing everyone feels this, from expenses, from like, I mean, we also are running our own business. Like work takes up a lot of our time and my wife's time, and it just feels. Then we also just got our own place, but then so many things. Then my mom is also getting older, and just feels like this. But at the same time, the fact that the grant did get increased is still a good thing, So that's why I'm a little like, am I just complaining? Like, is there any amount of grant that would be good enough? It's still an increase, so that's better than nothing, right? Isn't that better than nothing, Terrence?
Yeah, but it's a bit like, okay, we're going to raise GST, or we give you GST voucher lah. So does that make the GST raise? Does it make it easier for you?
And I think like just from reading, I mean, like it doesn't. It's like, okay, you can see the hardship in the long term, but in the short term, it's like a little candy, which makes it a bit better. Yeah. But then I think that's the feeling that a lot of people are having now, based on what I see online and based on what I talk to. There's this feeling that, okay, it's not ideal, but it's better than nothing. And then you look at the news around the world with all the other countries and all the stuff going on in other countries, and you're thinking like, is this just like the baseline of going forward? Like it's just going to get more and more expensive nonstop, and it's something we have to just accept.
Yeah. No, don't get me wrong, I think. Yeah. I mean, I'm happy for people who really. I mean, money always helps, right? Money does help defray costs and all that. Money helps, and everyone knows taking care of a child is getting expensive, but I think one of the things that really shocked me as a dad, right, was as a new dad in the last couple of years, was the disproportionate amount of space required to raise a child. You think that a baby is small, right? A baby is so tiny, you hold him in your arms and all, but when you realize like how many things that you need to raise a baby, whether it's their own cot or their books and their toys and everything, and all that stuff, like even the milk bottles, all that, then you realize how much space you really need to just create an environment that is conducive for child rearing. Then you understand why so many people are hesitant about having more kids, because space is a real premium in Singapore, right? And when you don't have that space, and then not even as a baby, but when your child gets older, good luck telling your child, let's stay at home because our house is so nicely made up. The 4 walls. I spent so much time interior designing the place and all that. Good luck telling your child, stay at home and let's just chill out at home and listen to music or whatnot, right? 90% of the time the child's screaming to go outside, and then you have to rack your brains. Okay, where can I bring him on a rainy day and things like that. So all these kind of things are not solved by having additional $3,000 in your bank account, like, you know, and it's a that's where, you know, some of the, I think there are, obviously there are solutions that probably would bring us to a more ideal state in terms of getting more employers to play ball with terms of maternity leave and all that. But those are difficult to implement. Those are difficult to implement and unpleasant for business owners, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's like more maternity leave or more childcare leave and things like that. So those are difficult, and that's where, in a sense, we don't see those measures being taken. We see the easiest route is just give more money.
Yeah. And I mean, apparently Lawrence Wong also said that he hopes Singaporeans understand it's not sustainable to rely heavily on government support year after year. And you know, what you said, like currently the mantra feels like it's the easiest thing is to just give money. Which, I mean, not going to deny that it does help. It does help a little bit, but it's also not. It doesn't feel like it's the most sustainable. I think since COVID, we're almost kind of trained on being like expecting something to come our way. Because so far the past few years there's been a lot, right? CDC vouchers, the grants. So if the day comes when those dry up, right? Wow, then that would be like holy shit, and I think we gotta brace ourselves for that day coming, lah. Because this does
increase
feel
GST again, no? Increase GST one more time.
Increase GST, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, and I mean, I think when you were saying like the disproportionate amount of space that you need to bring up a child. In my mind, I was like, but previous generations, like I grew up in a small space, and I think what also doesn't help is back then, like at least before social media, before access to information, I didn't know that other kids had a lot of bigger spaces, like I'm like okay, and you can't deny that it's I can imagine it tough lah, like telling your kid, hey, I grew up with a much smaller place, so you shut up. Right? Because the nature is there is a lot more access to see how other people grow up lah. That I can imagine being very tricky for parents lah, for new parents.
But some of these things are out of our control lah, right? Like the fact that streets are much more crowded now compared to back then. Like I don't know if you remember those days as a student, if you walk down Orchard Road, it's still manageable. Now it's like, especially now post-COVID, it's back to that crazy, like, you'll bump into someone if you just if you're not watching carefully, right? So yeah, I mean, it's and just having spaces to hang out and for kids to run around and play or that, for example, like you bring your kid to a playground, a lot of times it's super crowded. I mean, we have a lot of playgrounds, don't get me wrong. Singapore, we do have a lot of play areas, all that. But a lot of times they are also crowded, because that's where all parents are all rushing towards on weekends and all to keep their kids entertained. If they're not crowded, then there are paywalls behind them, lah. Like if you go to Jewel at Changi, you want to walk that top floor with that, the nice plants and everything. You got to pay money, pay for yourself, pay for your child, everything, lah. So it's Singapore is one of those things where. If you got money, if you got a lot of money, it's everything's accessible to you, lah. But if you don't want to spend the money, then you got to be really, really creative about where you go and how you spend your time, no? Yeah. But, yeah. But anyway, but that's the. I think we're not. Maybe there's not so much of a yala but-ish kind of thing here, but we're kind of just like
wrapping our heads.
Yeah, trying to let this sink in, but at the same time just relaying some of the things that we're hearing and reading about as well, right?
Yeah. Because I mean, like I think a lot of people are going to be talking about it for the next few days. A good friend of mine who listens to this podcast quite a lot, she also messaged me about the tax relief for working moms, lah. The same thing, lah. That it almost not say disincentivizes, but it impacts the higher income earning women, lah.
Yeah, and the interesting thing that is that the fixed amount that they have decided on really is around, it hits It's 15% of what our median income per capita is. So it really is not it's not an arbitrary number that they picked out nowhere. So it tells you really that they've looked at the numbers and that they decided that they are going to, basically give more support to lower and middle income working mums.
Yeah.
Whereas the high income working mums, they're going to cap it as that. Lah.
Yeah. Which to me, I mean, just off the top of my head, be it moms or dads, I think it makes sense. It's almost like income tax, like, there's a progressive income tax for a reason, right? You tax the higher earners. And I saw someone else post online saying, oh, my friend just texted me that he's going to pay $200,000 more for his Ferrari. Then I'm like, shut the fuck up, man.
No, but then, but I get what you're saying. Oh, sorry, can you finish your thought there before I interrupt you again? Yeah.
Yeah. No, so I mean, that's why I say my first impression is that, oh, but that makes sense. But I can imagine how that is also like gonna be tricky for people who are already having to balance careers and being a mom. And I think that applies specific to like moms. Like for dads is a very different thing. So that's why I'm like, oh, that one is, I don't even know how to wrap my head around that because it could go both ways. Like no policy will ever make everyone happy, right?
Correct. But how you word policy and how you implement it does give you a very clear signal of what the priorities are, right? Like, do they? I mean, you say that I think you made a comparison that if you earn more, then you pay more income tax, right?
Yeah.
But the truth is, whether you are a lower income mother or you are a higher income mother, you are still both having to take care of one child, and that's a real moment. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of sacrifice for the mother to do that, right? Literal physical toll on your body to give birth and everything as well, right? So why is it that you are sort of being penalized for being a good example of what a working mother can be, right? Making not only just taking care of a child but also earning money to take care of the household, right? So why is it that you're not being encouraged to do that? You're being, in fact, in some ways, you're being penalized for that right now, right? Compared to what it was before, where it's just a straight percentage of what you earn, and then you get the tax relief because they acknowledge that you are a successful working mother, but you also are the mother of a child, Whereas now it's like, okay, you seem to be doing well in life. That means you don't need as much support for your child already,
No, but then the same is for housing grants, what? It's never a percentage based, what? Regardless of how much you earn, there are specific tiers that enable you to get a grant. And these are for first time owners as well. So to me, it's more, it sounds, again, it is just reading and seeing and just initial thoughts. It feels like, I was actually surprised that it was a percentage of income for tax relief, as opposed to a fixed amount. Yeah.
I think it's good that the lower income working mothers get a higher fixed amount, right? But the other side of it is like, why is it that why don't they just make it such that it's either 15% is the higher of either 15% of your income or $8,000? You know what I mean?
8,000
So it's saying that it's saying that if you make more than that the median income, then you also get correspondingly higher tax relief, right? But if you're a lower income, you will get a base, Whereas it's one of these things where when he announced the policy, I'm like, that sounds in theory like it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back, or even 1 step back, 1 step forward, 2 steps back kind of thing. So I don't know. It's to me like we really should be encouraging mothers to continue to be part of the economy and to contribute and to really ascend through the ranks if they can, right? But this might make a working mother think about, I already hit this ceiling and there's less grants for me if I take up this promotion or take up more responsibility. So why do I want to do that? Why don't I just stay in whatever role I have, or just or even just quit and just take care of my kids, if anything. Yeah.
On that note, I agree, and that's what my friend also pointed out, because I'm sure if she listens to this, she'll be like, Harish, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But I mean, I think like how these sort of little things do matter. Like as much as the cash grant from 8 to 11 to me is like, oh, it helps, but maybe in its entirety, coupled with other things, subconsciously or consciously, it might make me feel a bit more at ease of having children. And I can imagine for careers, if you have these kind of things reduced or taken away, it might impact a working woman's decision to have children lah. So that I totally accept. And already, I know just from talking to friends, if you're a working woman, you want to have kids, you do have to sacrifice part of your career lah, unfortunately. I mean, it seems like something will take a hit lah, you know. So if this is another thing that is like, it makes it a bit harder, it will contribute in some way lah.
Yeah.
To either making it harder to have kids or making it harder for working moms to achieve their achievements in their career. So this one I can imagine. I mean, so many things to debate. I think, but overall, there are pockets of people who probably for them it really was a Valentine's Day gift lah. I can imagine people who are going to be having kids in the next few months. They find out, hey, I'm going to be getting more money, you know. Or like before the podcast, we were talking about something else also.
Like I think last night, a lot of Valentine's Day dates were disrupted, especially if you're dating a property agent. Because my guess is the ultra rich in Singapore is they went on a flurry to purchase their new condos or whatever before the additional 1% ABSD kicked in.
Which for a house of a few million, it's a significant amount, right? So the property agents today are like, whoop.
Last night it was as Conor McGregor says, red panty night for them, right? Essentially,
red panty.
It's like, okay, let's cut this Valentine's Day date. I need to go and close this deal right now. And then you just run off and close a $6 million deal and everything.
If their partner says, oh, but it's Valentine's Day, guy or girl, you want 60,000? No, not 60,000. Like a commission, like it'll be a significant amount. Like you sell a property of a few million.
Amount.
Commission. Ooh. Yeah,
Big
but I mean, we'll see. We might go deeper into the budget in the next few days. So stay tuned. If you want to find out whether we're going to be doing it or not, just follow us on our social media because we'll announce it there.
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
Yes.
Cool. Yeah. Okay.
But
something also government. Yeah. Go on. Segue
well, right?
Yeah.
But this one is. I think it's from yesterday we heard Lawrence Wong talking about how the government is going to help everyone, and now we learn about how what was I going to say? Sorry, I forgot already. How an AI chatbot is going to help the government give its talks, something like that, along those lines.
feels like we needed to help us with our segues also.
Yeah, I need the ChatGPT to help us with segues. I'm getting so bad at them now. But yes, that was the topic. Can you just more succinctly open up one of your tabs and let people know what it was about?
Okay, so basically there was an announcement that civil servants in Singapore will soon be able to tap the power of official intelligence through the viral AI tool called ChatGPT. So they'll be used to conduct research, draft reports, and speeches. So basically what happened was there was a hackathon from the Open Government's Products arm, OGP, that has been like kind of integrating the research into Microsoft Word, and they are going to start rolling it out starting with the Smart Nation and Digital Government Office. All these acronyms there's the OGP, the SNDGO, but basically they are going to be integrating it into the software of civil servants and there was a demo, there was an early version of the program that's been done, and so basically the next few speeches of even the budget, maybe the research, it will all could be done by GPT. So I just thought, when you were struggling with the segue, I actually typed into ChatGPT write a segue from talking about national budget to the civil service using ChatGPT to write speeches. And it churned out something.
What, okay, let's do it. Read it out.
It's quite long. So let me just write 100-word segue. Okay, in the meantime, I will just give a primer into ChatGPT for people who might not be aware, because there's still people I meet who are not aware. So ChatGPT is a conversational chatbot developed by OpenAI, which was a company started a few years ago by a bunch of super established founders. Like I think the two most prominent are Elon Musk and Sam Altman. So Sam Altman is a super young prodigy of an entrepreneur who was the president of Y Combinator and like very well known in the startup world, even though he's like only early 30s lah. So they got a few $1 billion in funding. They basically got the smartest researchers in the world, and they have now released this bot which you can sign up for free. It's called ChatGPT, and it's a conversational bot, which basically just means that you can type in anything you want within parameters. Like I think you can't ask it to write about sex or porn or violence, but it will churn out a response. And the examples you see online are fucking mind-blowing. So like like the 100-word segue that I just typed in, and in 3 seconds it churned it out. The national budget is a critical tool for achieving our government's goals, but it's the hard work and dedication of the civil service that turns those plans into reality. That's where technology can help, and natural language processing tools like ChatGPT are at the forefront. With the ability to quickly and effectively craft speeches, we can better communicate the budget's priorities to the public and our partners. In turn, this creates greater accountability, transparency, and ultimately leads to better outcomes for our citizens. So while the budget may be the starting point, it's the civil service and the power of tech that can bring it to life. And it did that in like 2 or 3 seconds. And all I said was write a 100-word segue from talking about national budget to the civil service using ChatGPT to write speeches. So, I mean, okay, that's the context of the tool. But when you saw this article, right, you have also played around with ChatGPT, right?
Yes.
What were your thoughts when you saw that? Hey, wow, the government might be using it.
Yeah, I think the government has, at least the civil service has come a long way. Like, remember all the jokes that we used to have about, that civil service, you cannot access the internet on your computer and things like that. Because there literally was I don't know whether it's still the case, but there was a time when they were literally limited internet access on government laptops for security reasons, right?
Yeah,
and
correct,
I think that became the butt of jokes. But now it's like, as the world, as institutions, educational institutions grapple with how they will allow AI to be used by students or teachers and things like that. Look at our civil service. They're saying, yes, we are going to use them to do exactly the things that we used to be paid. We used to be paid a lot of money to do, which was write speeches, come up with policy and things like that, lah. So yeah, they've come a long way in changing the way they think, right?
Yeah. So, but did it strike fear in your hearts or not?
Fear in what way?
I don't know. Like already, whenever we kind of talk about politics or speeches, it's like, hey, how can they say this? How can they say that? Well, what if like in future they're like, sorry, it was like when Denise Pua said, it'll just take 1 to 2 years for someone to pay off 140K debt. She just says, but I mean, ChatGPT wrote it, based on all the research that it does. We don't know how it works, but it wrote it, Would that make you feel different or
not? No, then that's why I think there's still a little bit of a gap in terms of like, really writing a factual speech and something that is more generic versus really injecting your personality into something. I think there's still a bit of ways to go, and that's the beauty of it, right? That maybe it's a bit like using Google Maps when you drive. Yes, you might not be able to remember the directions as well, as how the old school drivers used to just check the maps and then they just drive everywhere based on memory, right? But you also sort of free up your mind to focus on driving while you're driving, right? And hopefully makes you a safer driver that way as well, right?
So it didn't leave you. You just read it. You're like, okay, okay. Nothing.
No,
Nothing.
I mean, I think the fear of AI and chatbot and chat GPT and all that I feel like it's a little bit overstated at this point. You
Mm.
know, like people fearing that the entire industries or jobs will be removed, because I think it can help to really weed out like the very generic, boring kind of writing and speeches. But people really focus on how they can inject their own voice and personality to things a lot more lah.
Yeah, I mean, it is just a tool, and to be honest, I'm also not the most scared of it. Um,
Mm,
but I'm almost overwhelmed by the possibility of it, lah. Because holy shit, man!
mm,
You go on Twitter, you go on LinkedIn, like everyone is like, here are the 8 best AI tools to supercharge your productivity and all that. And every post is like new tools, and I'm like, oh my god,
mm,
slow down, man. I mean, some of it are really very interesting, like, and I encourage anyone who hasn't kind of dabbled with ChatGPT, just go and try it. Because
mm.
I have met people who, even in their jobs of like communications or something, it just cuts down the amount of time to get to a starting point. Like, because when you're trying to write something, sometimes you don't even know where to start.
Yeah,
So this
yeah,
ChatGPT, it's just like a chat window, and you just ask questions. It's almost like talking to someone. So that on that aspect is a bit freaky. But I mean, if the government is integrating it, yeah, I think if it helps them do better research, if it cuts down the time spent to get to a first draft and gives them like more time to verify stuff, gives more time
mm,
to Denise Paul and her team to verify that, yeah, 140K annual salary is not the norm. Uh,
yeah,
then all power to them, man. All power to them.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly. So yeah, to me, it's like they always talk about like with smartphones, is that the end of photography, is the end of cameras and all that. No, I think it just changes the how people think about photography, for example, right? And think about how to make the images stand out more. And you just see less generic shit floating around, and people think much more intentionally about what how to compose a photo, rather than worrying about the stuff that is maybe a bit more technical and not as fun. So
Yeah,
that's why
exactly.
that's what I think about for writing as well. There's a lot of writing that we do day to day that's not fun. Emails, copy, things like that. Then there's a more fun kind of writing. Whether it's your creative writing or even just journaling or whatever. If you can focus on doing that more, I think it's better for you, rather than having to learn how to write some generic marketing copy for work that can be reproduced a million times over by a robot lah.
Yeah, exactly. But
Yeah.
just I mean, for people who haven't dabbled and are wondering, oh, what are the limits of ChatGPT? While you were typing that, right?
Mm,
While you were saying that, I
mm,
just said, tell me a joke about a Chinese and Indian podcaster who are worried about artificial intelligence.
mm, mm, mm.
And here's the
And then
joke.
yes.
Like, a Chinese podcaster and an Indian podcaster were discussing their concerns about artificial intelligence. The Chinese podcaster said, I'm worried that AI will surpass human intelligence and take over the world. The Indian podcaster replied, There's nothing. I'm worried that AI will surpass customer service and take over our call centers.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
like
Then I'm
borderline
like,
racist, right?
yeah, so there was a footnote also. It's a light-hearted take on the common worry that AI will replace human workers with a cultural twist. I hope it made you smile. So one thing to maybe think about is that this ChatGPT is still built by an American company. So maybe this is an
Mm.
example of like, yo, the stereotypes,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like if an Indian person told me that joke, I'd be like, okay, sure. If a
Yeah.
Chinese person told me that, I'd be like, hey, fuck you, lah, okay? But if it's
Yeah.
artificial
It's not
intelligence, then
lighthearted at
how?
all, man. It's not lighthearted at all. I don't think you don't just walk up to Indian people and like make
That's
some call
why.
center joke, and it's not lighthearted at all, right?
Yo, what the hell,
Oh, this is a
ChatGPT?
moment.
Yeah.
Cancel ChatGPT. You heard it here first.
What the hell? No, because this actually might be a thing, because like there's one video that I bookmarked, I haven't watched. It just talks about a very simple way of explaining how ChatGPT works. But it is about just feeding it a lot of existing info and just crunching it and noticing patterns, and of course powered by a lot of genius people. lah. But you know how
Yeah.
like if most of the content, the English speaking content comes from the West, there might be an issue of these sort of stereotypes when it about stuff in the East. lah. Oh my
Yeah.
god. Oh my
Maybe
God.
it's more than just an echo chamber. Like, it's an echo amplifier, if anything, like, right?
Yeah, and there's no one you can blame. Yeah.
Yeah, it hears takes whatever's in the echo chamber and then amplifies it to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Which is like quite scary. Yeah. In that aspect, just hearing this, like, then I'm like, okay, then maybe civil servants should avoid asking ChatGPT to help you write jokes. Because you will get in trouble with a joke like that. Yeah.
What the fuck?
You will get in trouble.
Can you imagine if Parliament they say something like, oh, it's a light-hearted take on the common worry that, BTO prices will increase. Like, if you say this, I'll be like, yo, Terence, let's have a conversation, okay? And blah, 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 blah. But this one, who am I going to tell? Am I going to tell ChatGPT, yo, that was slightly, a little too casually racist? Man, I want to take a screenshot of this. I'm going to post it on Reddit so you all can see that it is legit. Yeah. Oh my God.
Wasn't there some time ago when all those, I think the computational photography was in its infancy stage. And when you take a photo of your iPhone, then it would scan the faces and then help to sort the faces and tag them accordingly, right? And then I think what happened was that someone took a photo of I think a gorilla, right?
Yeah.
And then somehow it got tagged as one of his black friends' photos or so. It happened to be tagged as the person's black friend's photos, yeah. So,
fuck. Oh my God.
I mean, yeah. It's kind of like those are the really early stages of AI in photography and all.
But God.
It tells you that maybe you do need time to train it and make sure that it avoids errors like this, which can be very offensive to people, right?
Oh my God, this is going to be the next.
So this sounds to me.
This is going to be the next tsunami of government comms fuck ups, no? They're going to think because ChatGPT churns it out, it's backed by all the research and data it has crunched in the past. And if the AI says it's a light-hearted take, is it really a light-hearted take with a cultural twist? Yeah. With a cultural twist.
Especially think about it, like the context of Chinese and Indians in Singapore, with Chinese as the majority race and everything like that. ChatGPT didn't take that into account at all, right? The fact that you're a Singaporean asking this joke, right?
Yeah.
So it sounds like it's. I thought that it would make fun of both the Chinese and the Indian ethnicity, but no, it seems to only want to make fun of the Indian one, right?
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh, hey Terence, you try on your ChatGPT also lah. Maybe
it will come out different.
Yeah, and then you put an Indian and a Chinese podcaster who are worried about artificial intelligence. Wow, that was interesting. Funny. So Singapore government, please don't just outsource all the writing to AI, okay? Please
don't do so.
Oh man,
get someone, some countries have direct, like I think Minister of AIs and all that coming up. Those are new posts being created. So that might be something we need to look at rather than have our politicians join big tech companies as the directors of public policies and all that. Right?
Yeah. My God.
Much more useful.
Oh, that was quite eye-opening. Quite eye-opening. Yes.
Back to our regular programming, which is the one Shiok comment.
Yeah, what is your one Shiok comment? My one Shiok comment is a message that a good friend sent, an ardent listener of Yalabat sent. So because it was a private WhatsApp message, I won't disclose the name, but it was in response to the last podcast where we talked about LKY's 100th birth anniversary podcast, episode 364. So I think what I was asking is like, hey, but why is this brought up in Parliament? It's a weird thing to table. And that friend basically pointed out that it was actually the Tan Si Ling responding to a question. And like when I just Google, I'm like, oh shit, he was. So he was responding to a question from Mr. Sito E. Pin from Potong Pasir, who asked if the government was planning to observe the anniversary of Mr. Lee's birth on September 16, 1923 and mark his contributions to the nation. So yeah, I stand corrected. And shout out to the friend who messaged me. But yeah, so basically, the truth is that MPs can ask ministers about anything that they think is in the public interest. So I think there are some rules in place also where if you ask a question, you have to respond. And depending on how you respond, people may see it differently. But yeah, that was a clarification. So cheers to that.
Yeah.
Cool. And what about you?
I think one Shiok comment was from on Reddit from our last podcast where Clarence C88 commented, I'm very curious why Terence thinks we are shifting the burden from the seniors to the digital natives. He's talking about, in reference to what we said about how a cashless society is, or a digital society, smart nations, is harder for seniors, old people who aren't used to it. And I think I mentioned that about the shifting of burden to digital natives being that a lot of older people will look towards their kids, right, to help them deal with these services. And Clarence C88 goes on to say, it's easy to shit on the usability of government services because we are so used to things being seamless. But I would disagree because you'd rather help your seniors online. They end up taking leave to go down to the government agency or banks in person to help get some easy transactions done. So I appreciate the differing opinion, right? So it's you can see that there's some people who think very, very clearly that they much rather have to deal with, even if it's dealing with like customer service, or they much rather deal with customer service over the phone or over email or whatever, than having to actually go down to an agency in person, right? So I think that's it's a real point of view, and it's something also, to some extent, it's true. It's still easier to do it, over the phone or what than have to go down in person.
I think that's true.
But I think my big point was just more about the, especially at the initial stages, we need to just reduce the friction, basically, for people of whatever education level, whatever demographic, reduce the friction for them to transition from offline to online. And I think that's where not enough is being done. I'm not saying that the digital apps all suck, right? Because I think we've also given credit where credit is due. There are some government service and digital apps that are much more seamless, but there still are quite a handful that are not easy to use, even for a digital native, right? So I'm saying that more should be spent on the transition of training and educating seniors towards using these apps, rather than always being, this is just how it's going to be going forward, and then they have to go and seek the help from other people, right? Because not everyone also has kids that they can ask for help for these kind of things, and it's going to be very difficult for them. So if anything, I'm just saying that more can be done to help with this transition.
Wow, doesn't sound like a one Shiok comment. It's like a one comment that made Terence angry comment.
No, not angry. Because I think there is a point that there are very seamless government apps, and then we've talked about some of these that have really, improved quality of life for everyone, like say the parking app, for example, things like that, or even your SingPass, and how easy it is to log in for government services, right? So I think it's important we also don't just blanket say everything is terrible, but to be more specific and point out like what exactly we're calling for.
Fair enough.
So thank you for the comment from Clarence C88.
Clarence C88. Okay, cool.
Yes.
And then what about your one Shiok thing, man?
My one Shiok thing is, I guess it's the something that a lot of people have been talking about and buzzing about recently. It's the Netflix show Physical 100. Yes. If you haven't got on it already, it's basically a reality TV show on Netflix that features 100 athletes, strong men, wrestlers, and men and women from Korea who are competing in a reality TV show where they are given physical challenges, elimination challenges, right? Basically, where you got to win or you go home. And they are slowly, and we're in the middle of the season, but right now, as of last night, there are 5 people left out of this 100, that have started the competition. And I actually did not start even for episode 1 because I was like, sounds like a typical reality TV show. Yeah. But as the challenges started to get more interesting, where they started to become group challenges, I started to really enjoy it because it reminds me a lot of. It reminds me a lot of the stuff that we used to do, whether in school, at camps, or even in army, right? The so-called like group obstacle courses and things that you go through, or just having to surpass very physical challenges with a very diverse group of individuals. They're all very fit, very athletic, but they all come from different backgrounds as well. And it's quite interesting seeing how all their different styles, different personalities mesh together when they work in teams or work against each other as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been enjoying it quite a bit, and yeah, I feel like every time I watch it, I feel like my heart rate just like goes up to exercise levels, man. I feel like I got a workout just from watching it now on my couch, man.
I mean, I love it. I watched from the first episode onwards, and I think watching from the first episode onwards adds to it because you feel invested in these individuals. Like I love the show, man. And I think
how would you describe it to someone who's like sounds like a typical Harish thing of watching jocks like
typical Harish. It's got girls also, got women also, okay, and some of the women are badasses, man.
Jacked, yeah.
I mean, I would say it is really some of the things they do is really you watch it, you're like, wow. It's like a combination of those strongman competitions, Squid Game, and orientation for uni or school.
Yeah, and American Gladiator also.
Yeah.
American Gladiator, because the challenges are very artificial challenges. Like they're not like taking place outdoors. They're taking place in a studio with a built set that has very specific kind of challenges that you would never find anywhere else in the world, right?
Yeah,
like moving spoiler, like moving a 1.5 ton wooden ship across a room. Like, wow, what the hell is that, man? When will you ever in your life have to do that, right?
Yeah. I mean, I used to enjoy watching strongman competitions, but beyond a certain point, you felt like these people are not normal people, whereas these athletes, they're all top of the game. Another thing is the athletes there, right? You have Olympic gold medalists. You have an ex-MMA champion who fought in UFC. You have champion weightlifters and YouTubers. So I just think it's such a brilliant idea, and it has that Squid Game kind of feel, it's slightly unnerving, So it's great.
But the one thing I do like is that generally the mood is very positive. Everyone, they're not trying to tear each other down. They're all very supportive of each other, even if they're from different teams as well, right? And they're always like, even after getting eliminated or what, you can tell that the people are very supportive of each other. And whoever's still in the competition,
Yeah. Okay, cool. So then my one Shiok thing is something that I actually got wind of through Straits Times, man. So kudos to them. It is this TikTok account based in Singapore called SG Tower Crane, where a crane operator just shows how he lives his life on a day-to-day basis. So his crane is 120 meters up in the air. It's in the CBD of Singapore. Like a lot of times his view is facing the Duxton at Tanjong Pagar, and he's significantly higher than Duxton. And he just shows how he prepares his lunch. So he has like prata with someone. He has his own little stove. And he says it's like his second home. He spends like 12 hours a day there, 6 days a week. So he does push-ups. He doesn't show his face, but it's just one of those accounts that I'm like, wow, okay, this is what I think TikTok serves its purpose, So and the view is insane. And it's just more, you're like, wow, that's interesting. It's a peek into a lifestyle that is so damn unique.
What building was he?
No, he's a crane operator. You know, one of those super tall things at the top of a building. So I don't know what building he's on,
building it is,
but it's the one that is so damn high that it looks down on all the skyscrapers in Singapore.
Yeah.
So I think he said he started just by uploading a few videos of his lunchtime routine, and it got very popular. So now he has about 13K followers.
Holy shit!
Yeah. So it's interesting, I highly recommend it.
Do they talk about his pay and stuff like that as well?
Of course, there's a video like how much does a crane operator earn, and then he goes into it goes into the salary. Of course, Singaporeans would ask that,
No, but that was literally something we were just discussing yesterday,
correct.
right? About like that crane operators surprisingly earn a higher amount than most people think, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, Then just take a look, and the videos it's just the view. It's something you don't see often, And I always wonder when you look at those cranes, like, what the hell is going up there? Yeah, so he has videos of the rain, and he has his own he has like a little home up there, with binoculars and stuff like that. It's cool. That's cool. Yeah.
What's it called again? Sorry.
SG Tower Crane.
SG Tower Crane. Got it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool, man. All right.
Cool.
Thanks
Alright.
for listening, everybody, and we'll talk to y'all soon.